Yeah. Wake up with coffee and sports. Sunrise glow, listen coast to coast. A flow like you know.
Offensively, who made them? Oh, Patrick Mahomes.
Sideline to sideline with plays to show. This network's got the spark.
When you put up 300 yards rushing against someone, that you got your butt whooped.
I feel like I would have liked to see Oregon Ohio State in the semis, not the quarters. So I think some reseeding is probably where I would change. But
they're out of their mind. They're going to do this 3 quarterbacks in a row.
Here's the crazy.
I just can't take it.
First deep flying high, fans cheering loud, and one podcast moving through the crowd. Needy boys brawling, no holds barred bout. This wire life never in doubt. Tune into the vibe.
That's my bold prediction for the show. Devin Booker in the next 3 years, he will be a Houston Rocket.
Because I still think Seth is still at the top of his game. I do. I think he's right there. Who knows? Maybe not this year, but one time soon. Why wouldn't we potentially see Seth and Roman? You know what I mean?
Tune in the vibe. Party Reds, good centers. Got me on the mic now, let's spill the tea. Talking courtside dreams from history. Legends on the blacktop now and then. From Will to Steph, we hit it again. All better chimes in, let's go deep. Young bloods rising, can't skip a beat. Puppy prospects with fire in their eyes. Draft night suckers and hoop dream highs. Wire to wire, bring the heat. Podcast magic can't be beat. Do better, we're roll better. We're hoop heads, trendsetters.
What is poppin', y'all? It is your boy, Guardy3, and welcome to the And One podcast on this beautiful Friday morning. You know how it is. Joining me just like every week, he's the greatest co-host of all time. He is Mo Betta. How you doing, Mo?
Everybody, let's talk some hoops.
Yeah, and y'all know how we like to start this off. We always start off with an underrated player of the week. If anybody's just tuning in for the first time, we like starting off talking about players who we don't think get enough love. So it could be past, present, historical, a player, a whole team if we really wanted to. So, Mo, who do you got for the underrated player of the week this week?
I think my underrated player, I'm going to go with a guy who turned himself into a legitimate 3-and-D guy, hard-nosed defender, really good guy, makes winning plays, a locker room guy. I'm talking about, I believe he's retired now, PJ Tucker. And I just think PJ Tucker is one of those hard-nosed players who maybe not be the most gifted, but he found his NBA role as a defender / 3-point shooter. I just got a lot of respect for him and the career that he's had, and probably within the NBA family, what PJ Tucker is most known for, if you really follow him, is he's known to have arguably the greatest sneaker collection ever.
Yeah. He does have a killer sneaker collection. I remember seeing and hearing all about that when he was in Milwaukee. So it's one of those things with PJ Tucker too. I love PJ. I respect what he did, especially helped my Bucks win a title. I always have to defend PJ with my life half the time because people still want to go at him for Kevin Durant doing nuclear things in the Bucks Nets series. But it's like I tell people, look, PJ's one job was to make KD work for those buckets. He did. Sometimes you just run into a situation where you learn why a player is a Hall of Famer for a reason. Kevin Durant's an inner circle Hall of Famer for a reason. PJ Tucker played fantastic defense on him. The problem is Kevin Durant's Kevin Durant. So good defense, better offense. So overall, yeah, no, I love PJ Tucker and everything that he's done.
Yeah, look, let's give PJ a break from when KD went off. I like your point. Um, LeBron is at his peak was a great defender. The very best version of LeBron as a defender couldn't slow down Kevin Durant. So let's not ever give PJ Tucker a hard time when an all-time great player just gets on one. When an all-time player gets on one, I don't care who you are, you're gonna take an L that night.
Right. Like it's kind of like it's funny. I have used the same defense for Anthony Davis in that Nuggets series. People will be like, "Oh, Jokic cooked him. AD played such bad defense." I'm like, "No, AD guarded Jokic in that series, the absolute best that you could have asked for." Jokic just showed why he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer one day with all those shots he hit. Yeah, I think people just sometimes fail to understand that great players sometimes just when they get on a heater, they're just completely unstoppable. And I think Kevin Durant in the Nets series, Jimmy Butler, ironically, against us too in the Miami series, Jokic against the Lakers. Like you can just go back and see that happen throughout history. So yeah, shout out to PJ, man.
That is
Just
so
an
awesome.
absolutely terrific player.
A great player, and shout out to you, partner, for coming up with that last reference. That's a good example. That particular year, that is the best Jimmy Butler ever played at any time in his career. I never even seen that version of Jimmy Butler. I've seen him be great. I've never seen him be dominant offensively, but he was on such a heater. He was just unguardable that particular series. Now, for edification, Giannis was injured, and look, he did something you don't see very often. He dominated, not just played well, but he dominated Drew Holiday. That happened, but that was Drew Holiday, still a great defender, dealing with a guy who was in his complete bag. Like everything Jimmy did that year worked, and you just caught him when he was on a roll, on a heater, like you said. There's nothing you can do about that.
No, absolutely. I kind of wanted to use my underrated player of the week on a guard that I think gets underrated at times because of who he played with. Talking about one of the guards that played with MJ. And I think I'll appreciate this one. I think people just kind of underestimate how good Ron Harper was. Talking about a 20-game scorer, all-star before he joins the Bulls. Obviously, in the middle there, he suffers a knee injury that just kind of knocked him more towards the role player path. But I feel like it's not enough people know how nice like prime Ron Harper was before he joined up with Michael and accepted his role as a really high end role player. So my underrated player of the week, Mo, give me Ron Harper.
The Ron Harper pick is a really good one. And yeah, look, anybody out there that loves hoops and you recognize Ron Harper for his part on being on those Bulls teams, yeah, Ron Harper, young Ron Harper, prior to the injuries, wasn't just a 20-point per game scorer. He was an athletic freak. He had hops. Him and Jordan, when he was on Cleveland, they used to go back and forth. Ron Harper was on track to be a perennial all-star, and then he suffered some injuries that to his credit, because a lot of people don't have the mental toughness to do this, to go from being a star and having to tell yourself, I can still play in the league at a high level, but now it's in a different role, in a different capacity. Not everybody can handle that. I thought Ron Harper handled that as well as anybody I've ever had. And he did it in the best way, right? He not only embraced it, he excelled at it. 3 titles with the Bulls. Then he wins a couple more with the like Ron Harper is a winner. He's a winning basketball player who made timely winning plays. Not a great shooter, but I'll be damned if late in the game, if he doesn't hit a knockdown shot that you don't see coming or get a strip or take a charge. Give him a lot of credit for being able to translate what he had, take the injury, and embrace becoming not just a role player, but a high-level starter on both ends of the floor. Shout out to Ron Harper, who became a very good defender in his second NBA career.
I will say that the next portion of John Morant's career could very well end up being like a sort of Ron Harper-ish kind of story. Like, does he accept being a high-level role player, or does he keep trying to be the star that he once was? And I think a mistake for Ja would almost just continuing to try to be what he once was. I think he's just got to really work on just adding more of a jumper to his game. But no, overall, I do think Ja's still a very high-level player. I just will he accept, will he accept the fact that he's not the player that he once was and scale down a little bit so he can play with some better talent? We'll see, because he is playing with Dame this year. I believe he got sent to Portland, right?
Yeah,
We'll see if he can actually scale down his game next to other scorers.
that's a complicated situation because Ja's going there. But assuming Dame is healthy, that's Dame's team. You know what I mean? That's Dame's team. And the truth is, Dame can score in more ways than Ja can because of his ability to shoot from distance. What Portland did is strange to me. Still, I thought they would have made other moves. Remember that backcourt, Scoot Henderson is still there. Shaden Sharp is coming back from an injury. Drew Holiday is still there. Like, I don't understand what they plan on doing. What you can't play them all. You can't. They have 4 point guards who I would argue they could probably all be starting point guards. I don't know what you're doing with that. Maybe they're going to try something like they're going to put Ja and Dame in at the same time, and I'm sure they will experiment with that. I don't see how they're going to have sustained success with that because even at both of them at their very peak, yes, could be explosive offensively, but both at their very peak are going to get hunted and schooled on the other end because neither one of them were good defenders. I don't see how that works. I get why Portland did it. It's Portland. You need a reason for people to come watch games. It's Portland. I understand that, but I think the Blazers are going to be better on 2K than they are in real life.
So I think this is an interesting one too, because Ja is just mainly like a downhill threat attacking the basket, but he really hasn't played with another like high usage primary ball handler to make him a set shooter. Like, we've never really seen Ja explore the set shooter outside of maybe like one a game if Desmond Bane's running an ISO. Like, he didn't really do it that much. So I think that will be interesting too. Like, is he a set shooter? He doesn't really have the big, volume to back that up yet, but we're going to find out real quick how well he plays off the ball. But I think his main value this year off the ball is going to be as an off-ball cutter more than a set shooter. Because at the end of the day, that's just still his strength, getting downhill and attacking the rim and forcing the defense to collapse and then dropping dimes. I do agree with the dime passer part. He is a good passer. But the set shooter part, I'm iffy on.
Yeah, I think Ja's a really good passer. But you brought up something. I don't think he plays off the ball very well, and I don't think he's used to playing off the ball. So to turn around, send him to Portland and go, yeah, we're going to get you to come off ball screens. I don't think that was ever a strength. So that's going to be something I think he's going to have to adjust to. It's like I said, they have a very unique setup, and on 2K, you might be able to get away with starting Ja and Drew and Dame and Shaden Sharp and Avia. Like, that might be fun to watch, and they probably can score on a lot of people. That won't play out well in real life. In real life, Dame is your best player, but he's coming off a horrendous injury. So technically, Dame might still be your biggest star, but I think Avia is the guy right now, right? I wonder how Dame and Avia can, never mind Dame and Ja, how Dame and Avia play off each other, because that's going to be key. Avia was used to being high volume, have the ball in his hands all the time, and here comes Damian Lillard. Like, there's going to be a huge adjustment. Everybody can't score 20 points a game. Ja's a 20-point-a-game scorer. Dame's a 20-point-a-game scorer. Avia was last year. Somebody's going to have to sacrifice and do the little things. And I think that's going to be the interesting part watching Portland. Look, as a fan, I'm certainly rooting for Ja to have a great bounce back season. Hell, I'm rooting for Dame to come back and look like the Dame that we know and love. The chemistry it's a unique thing. And remember, Portland overachieved last year, and they rewarded that coach by not bringing him back. So they have more questions than answers when you look at what they're doing with that franchise. I guess what I'm trying to say is when you look at Portland and you look at their roster construction, I don't know what their identity is because they've got 500 guards, so, and I don't know what you do with that.
I was gonna say, I also am curious. I'm like, obviously he's gonna say all the right things, but like, you're telling me that Denny's gonna go from having the highest usage on the team, having the best year of his career, actually doing well with that usage, to now all of a sudden being like, yeah, by the way, you're back to being like a third option. Like, yeah, because Dame's gonna want to have the ball in his hands. Ja's gonna want to have the ball in his hands, like
For sure.
So they just might be like, hey, Denny, we're going to cut into a bunch of your usage for John Dame. And will Denny be happy with that setup? Like, he'll probably say, like, I just want to help the team win. But I think we might end up seeing a different story play out. Because I wouldn't be shocked if beginning of the year you see him frustrated, throwing his hands up, et cetera.
I wouldn't be surprised if this ends up being the season we go, well, that was the season when Avia decided that he wanted to be traded. You're right. You're 100% right. He's feeling like he's the man. Remember, Dame's gone. Dame's in Milwaukee. Dame get hurt. Of course, you guys do the trade, and Dame comes back. Obviously, didn't know that was happening, but it happened. And obviously, Dame missed all of last year recovering, but he's back now. And you have to think Damian Lillard, being Damian Lillard, he's coming into this training camp like, I'm Damian Lillard. I am the number one option. I'm the dude. And obvious, like you said, he's saying all the right things. But when it plays out on the court, obvious is going to be looking at Ja's getting 17 shots a game. Dame's doing 18 or 9. Like, where are my opportunities coming from? And don't forget, Shaedon Sharpe is an up-and-coming player, so he's going to get his shot. Scoot Henderson last year was very aggressive offensively. Like, everybody can't score. That's not at least not to their satisfaction. There's team goals and then there's individual goals. And I think Avia got a huge taste of what it was like to be considered not just a star, but an all-star. Somebody we looked at and like, this kid might be on the verge of going to another level. And now he's got to readjust with Dame back. And then they turn around and throw him a curve, an extra curve. They trade for Ja. Like, if I'm obvious, and you're still saying all the right things until it plays out on the court, and you become a third option again. You go from scoring in the mid-20s to you're back to 16 points a game. Like, I think Portland has to think about their long-term future with this roster. And the reality is a lot of the guys they have currently on the roster are not part of their future. And I'll be honest, I'm a huge Damian Lillard fan. I would love it if he can come back and he had like 3 really high-level seasons to kind of finish his career off, because we're not talking about titles or content. That's not – by the time this team is ready, and I'm talking about their younger players, Dame won't be the same player anymore, right? Age will just have caught up to him. I'd like to see him come back and leave on a high note. I'd like to see Drew leave on a high note, but Drew's more of a role player. I feel like I actually thought they were going to move Drew because the backcourt was so crowded. And obviously Drew is, I think he's either the oldest guy on the roster or the next to the oldest. I think he's older than Dame, but obviously Dame is a more talented offensive player. It's not even close. I just think that I'd be looking to keep developing, playing Sharpe, Henderson, Avia, and some of the younger talent. I don't know if I can put everything on the backs of these veterans when they're not part of my future.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because I saw this comment at first, and I was like, Ja couldn't keep up defensively if he was fully 100% healthy. Like that, like Ja, and if they ever try to do like Ja and Dame minutes, oh my goodness. Say poor Klingon's gonna have the worst time of his life at the rim defending all those shots. But it's not like he gets that much better if you're like, yeah, well, we're going to run Ja and Scoot or Dame and Scoot. Like, you have – I think that's also going to be a big problem, too, by the way. 3 of your 4 defenders for the guard position are just negative defenders. Like, Dame's not a good defender. Ja's not a good defender. Scoot Henderson's not a good defender. Like, are you just playing Drew Holiday for 48 minutes or just praying that, like, Dame or Ja catch a heater and, hey, we're just going to score more than them in the non-Drew minutes? Like, I genuinely think Drew Holiday just accidentally became the most important member of this backcourt off his defense alone.
And look, that is a strength, and maybe that's a strategy. Dame and Ja's offense is their best defense, right? Their ability to get at you and attack you, that's their best ability. Yeah, look, Ja's a dynamic offensive player, especially when he's in the open court and in transition. You'll get no argument from me. But I think he needs to kind of like polish his ability to shoot consistently from the outside. Like, I get it. He's one of the great attackers of the basket we have in the league. But you can't survive off of just doing that. You're going to have to add something else to your game, or eventually they only play you for the one thing. If Russell Westbrook had a great jump shot, who would maybe his hope, and by the way, he still had a Hall of Fame career, but if he had a great jump shot, different conversation. Ja doesn't have a great jump shot. He's certainly a capable shooter. And I think that's what this season should be about. We already know the things he does well. I just hope that he's working on the things that are not strengths offensively, because that's how he extends his career. If you're going to rely on just your athleticism, his career is only going to last a couple of more years. The athleticism will fade. Then it'll be about skill. So I hope this is a great bounce back year for everybody. Everybody. We're NBA addicts. We want everybody to do well, right? And I don't want anybody's career to get cut short. I'm rooting for everybody in terms of health and all the younger players. And I'm excited for Ja, because I want to see what's happening. I want to see what Jaylen Brown does in Philly. I'm interested in what happens in Minnesota, because I don't think there's a middle ground in Minnesota. I think the moves they've done, it's either going to go really, really well, or for the first time in years, they're going to be in the play-in. I don't think there's a middle ground. I really believe that. Chemistry matters. Commitment, chemistry, and embracing your role, all those things matter. Minnesota's done something. They're taking a really big swing because they're going to play with a predominantly small lineup. You're going to have Rudy and some small guys out there, and I think that can work. Don't get me wrong. I'm just wondering how well it works going into the postseason.
Well, you know what? They did try to bolster the forward rotation. They signed Jonathan Kuminga to 2 years, $13 million. Now, I do think the price point is fine getting Jonathan Kuminga for $6.5 million to me for the next 2 years. It's just kind of whatever, like, cool, I guess. Like, that's not a lot of money if it goes south. So that's I think that dude's just gonna be back running with the bench unit by January. Like, I don't think as a starter, Jonathan Kuminga and friends will work. And the biggest reason why for me is we've seen him try to scale up. Like, he can obviously try to score if there's nobody on the court with him. He can take on a bigger scoring role if needed. It's going to be inefficient. It's not going to be good, but he can. But every time you watch him try to, like, scale down his game to try to fit in the mold to play with better players, it doesn't look good. He just looks unhappy. He gets disinterested. He wants to do one thing: score the basketball. And if you try to tell him, hey, go stand in the corner and play defense, like, he's never seemed happy doing that. He hasn't proven he can do that. In fact, he's a pretty terrible corner three-point shooter. So I think that as a starter, this whole thing is going to go off the rails rather quickly, and I think Kuminga will end up with the bench unit sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and I think, can Jonathan Kuminga work in Minnesota? Yes, but as a six-man, as a role player. The idea that it's going to be so fluent that he just fits in, I don't think so. I don't think it works that way. And I'm with you. I think before the halfway point of the season, he won't be a starter. It might not even last that long. They might be 20 games into the season. They realize like Ant is not happy with this dude. This dude just coming in chucking. So here's the thing: it can work with him in a role coming off the bench. But I don't. I feel like Kuminga is one of those guys, and I think this has been his case throughout his. I think he's always hated the idea that he was the guy that comes off the bench as an MVP. I think he thinks he's more than that, and I don't think he is. By the way, being a great six man, that's not shade. That's not a negative thing. That's awesome. Hell, they're a great six man who found their way into the Hall of Fame. So there's nothing wrong with being a six man if you totally embrace the role. And I think Kuminga's never done that. And once they demote him in Minnesota, and it's going to happen, can he handle it when they say, "Look, Jonathan, we're going to play you the same amount of minutes, but it's just in a different role"? Is it the end of the world if you don't start, but you're still coming off the bench, getting up 12, 15 shots a game?
Yeah, and that's, I think, just the perception of Kuminga by himself and by like a lot of pundits too is just really far off from what the reality of what Jonathan Kuminga actually is. Like, people are talking about him like Jonathan Kuminga, he can score, he can play defense, he's got all this high-end potential. Like, if he had that much potential, he would have never left Golden State, or Atlanta would have signed him instead of letting him walk in free agency. He's very much six-man coded. He's like a diet Antoine Walker. Like, he can score. He's going to get a lot of shots up. If you need him to do anything else, he really doesn't have you. He can rebound. He can rebound, but at the end of the day, his game is very Antoine Walker, but more athletic coded. Like, he's going to come in. He's going to get a lot of shots up. He's going to help you rebounding a bit. But outside of that, I don't know exactly what to expect from him, but it's not a lot. I think he's going to try to score and just overstep his boundaries a lot in the beginning.
And by the way, when I say the Kuminga thing won't work, I'm just saying in the sense that him being a starter, I don't see how that's going to work in that way. It doesn't mean that it can't work in another way. And by the way, he's not the only one. We never judge teams by just what they are on paper. You can tell me a team on paper and it looks great. I'm just going to tell you it's a great team on 2K. But look at the Sixers. I don't know for sure that the Sixers are going to be the best team in the East. I'm just making a point that just rolling those guys out there on pure talent alone does not mean it's going to work, because there's got to be chemistry, there's got to be established roles, and there's got to be an established alpha. And I get that LeBron has come in there with all the fanfare and all this and that, but in my gut instinct is everything will be kumbaya until it gets real. Then I'm gonna wonder how long LeBron and Jaylen Brown are bros, because I feel like that relationship, that's gonna be interesting. That's gonna be more interesting than any other relationship on that team, because I don't know if Jaylen Brown is the kind of guy that has the temperament for the LeBron experience.
It's going to be them taking passive-aggressive shots at each other on social media for half the season, and it's going to be the funniest thing ever.
Just as long as LeBron does not use that "don't fit out, fit in" line again, don't do that ever.
I need him to do that, because JB's reaction would be the funniest thing ever. Like, I love I need the 76ers, try to win a title this year for Key and them sanity, but that drama, I feel like there's just going to be a lot of drama for no reason with that team.
And the thing is, a lot of it won't even be within the locker room. It'll be Rich Paul running his mouth on his podcast with Max Kellerman. Like, there is going to always be drama with polarizing figures. Kobe was polarizing. LeBron has been polarizing for well over 20 years. And the fact that he goes to this team and it's a stacked team, I don't care about that. When I'm not so when people think I'm criticizing, I am not criticizing. The man's 40 years old, still playing at a high level, still an all-star player. him going to a team that gives him an opportunity to compete for a title, I don't think that's stupid. That's smart. What is he supposed to do? Go to the Kings? Go to the Hornets? You know what I'm saying? Like, no. He's trying to compete for a title. So he went to the Sixers, and lo and behold, he's got some guys around him. They're going to be nice. I can't guarantee a title, but barring injuries, of course they're going to be a very good team. You've got one of the smartest cerebral players in the history of basketball, LeBron James, Jaylen Brown, Tyrese Maxey. Come on, man. Just that alone. But then you've got Edgecombe. And now you've got Embiid. I think this helps Embiid. He doesn't have to be the number 1 or number 2 offensive option. This might save his legs. You might actually, for the first time, Sixer fans have a real opportunity to go into the postseason with Joel Embiid completely healthy and rested. That's not a bad thing.
But hey, you know what, Mo? All I'm going to say is if LeBron decided to go to the Kings and took Zach LaVine and company to like even the second round of the playoffs, that might have just solidified him as the GOAT. That's all.
Go. You ain't getting no argument from me.
I would just be like, wait, who's in the second round? Yeah, never mind. Stamp him.
You ain't get no argument from me. If LeBron could go there with Zach LaVine and that roster, and if he can get them out if he get a first round, if he get a first round series win, go. No conversation. Go. I'm almost thinking about go. Not even close. And by the way, without that happening, he's got a strong case for that. He does. With anybody that argues that, you're not being honest.
Yeah, and I do, like you said, I do get a kick out of that when they're like, well, he went to a stacked team. Like, he's not going to play, year 23 just to go to, like, the Bulls or the Hornets. Like, I'm not exactly sure what you expected with this one, but I'd say I do think that obviously it helps that JB did have experience playing off of Tatum. I do think LeBron had some experience playing off of Luka. I think all these guys at least have experience playing off of each other, like Embiid and Maxey.
True.
So I do think it helps that both Brown and LeBron both have kind of experimented with scaling down their roles to fit with better players before. So I do think that there's some serious potential as long as everybody can keep their egos in check.
100%. If the Sixers, if ego is never an issue and everybody's just committed to the mission of winning a title and they stay healthy, I'm telling you right now, at a minimum, they're going to be in the conference finals. I truly believe that. I got no offense, but I'm just looking around in the East. Who's their competition? There's the defending champions. Okay, if they're healthy, I expect them to be in the mix. And Cleveland, no offense to Cavs fans. I already know you're a playoff team, and I know you're a good team. I don't think you're a title contending team. I just think you're good enough to make the playoffs. I don't think you can beat the Sixers in this. You can't. If the Cavs are healthy and the Sixers are healthy and they meet in a series, what's that? 6-5, 4.
I was going to say, you're not moved by the Cavaliers running back the same team with like the third different wing they've tried now. It's like every year they're just like, let's
and
run
look,
it back.
I like Peyton Watson. Yep. And I like Peyton Watson, by the way, and I do think he's going to help them. Peyton Watson's not going to be the problem. The problem's going to be their two best players, or the guy that people perceive to be one of their two best players, James Harden and Donovan Mitchell. Their two best players are actually Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley. They need more from Evan Mobley. They need Evan Mobley to take the mantle and establish it's me and Mitchell, not Mitchell and Harden, and then me. I need more from Evan Mobley to believe the Cavaliers are a contender.
And of course, like I said, everybody talks about how great of a playoff riser Donovan Mitchell was, which was true for the first couple of years. He had an awesome bubble, and a couple of years after that. Last couple of years in Cleveland, though, haven't seen it. They didn't bring in James Harden to be the best player on the team. They brought him in to help Donovan Mitchell. So, at the end of the day, they just gave him that, massive supermax extension. This is all going to start and end with Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley. If they can't elevate their games enough, then just trade them off. Trade them off now. Just save yourself the trouble.
Right. And look, the Cavaliers are probably going to win 55 or more games, which means they're going to have a really good season. But nobody's going to care. Not even Cleveland fans, because we're going to judge the Cavaliers on everything they do in the postseason. And that's the frustrating part. They're going to have a terrific regular season. James Harden is probably going to be around 20 and 10 again, right? 20 points, 10 assists. D. Mitchell's going to be his usual 25, 26 points a game, around 5 assists. Evan Mobley will be, 18 and 10 or 18 and somewhere in that range. Like, they're going to be fine. I just need to see a better playoff version of them from their best three players. What I saw was a lesser version of Harden, which we've seen for over a decade. He's not a playoff riser. D. Mitch has struggled the last couple of seasons, the postseason, and Evan Mobley just doesn't seem like he's ready to take on the mantle of being the second best player.
Honestly, Mo, if they wanted to trade Donovan Mitchell, could they? Is anybody trading for D. Mitchell? That's not saying he's a bad player, but when you add in the contract extension they just gave him, like, you have to have a lot of confidence that his game is going to age super well if you want to move him. So I also think that the Cavs are kind of stuck in a sense where if you do want to end up blowing this up, I still think you're just kind of stuck with Donovan Mitchell. Like, I don't think you're convincing a contender to take on his, $60 million plus cap starting next season. So you're in a now or never position, but like, you better get a haul for Mobley and James Harden if you do decide to blow it up, and Jared Allen, because I genuinely think even if they wanted to trade him, Mo, I don't think it happens. At least not to any contender or decent team.
And it's not because he's not a great player. You're right. We both agree he's a great player. But at the number that he'd be coming to that team, who's taking on that contract? Again, I'm with you. This is not anyone saying Donovan Mitchell's not a terrific player. But the only team they're going to take on that contract, they're going to be teams that Donovan Mitchell has no interest in being traded to. They're going to be bottom dwellers that are not contending for anything. I think it's funny because there was an interesting debate about what makes somebody a number one option or this or that. This isn't a question about whether he can be your leading scorer. He can be your leading scorer. But isn't there a difference between being a number one option and being the best player?
Yep.
And that's the whole thing right there. I have no doubt Donovan Mitchell can be the leading scorer on a championship winning team. I don't know if Donovan Mitchell can be the best player on a championship winning team. He hasn't shown that. And that's not a knock, just he hasn't shown that. That goes to a lot of guys who've had great careers. They just seem to have a peak, and they can only go but so far. The debate the other day that they had on one of my favorite podcasts to listen to, and I don't usually give anybody shout outs, but I listen and watch Jeff Teague's podcast a lot. Those guys are fun. They're entertaining. They're almost as fun as you and me. They had the debate that they were talking about the debate about Klay Thompson defending the fact that people were saying, and I don't even know why it's a big debate that Ray Allen's better than him. Ray Allen is better than Klay Thompson. That shouldn't be the argument. It shifted to, so you guys are saying Klay Thompson can't be a number one option. I never said that. I said if Klay is your best offensive player, I don't think you're like Klay can be your best offensive player. I'm just saying if he is your best offensive player, your ceiling isn't title, it's playoffs. That's nothing. That's just how it is. DeMar DeRozan was a terrific player and was a leading scorer for many, many, many years. But his ceiling was he can lead you to the playoffs, maybe the second round. It is what it is. Same for Joe Johnson. There's a ceiling on what certain guys can do as the best player. Draymond heard that their podcast, and then Draymond jumped in. And Draymond said, well, back in the 80s and 90s, Reggie Miller, who basically has the same skill set as Klay Thompson, was a number one option. And my thing is with Draymond is nobody's arguing that Klay could be a number one option. You actually kind of help make another argument, because if you're saying well, if Clay was the number one, which is what they said if Clay went somewhere else and he were the number one option, he'd be averaging about 25 a game. And I was like, if Clay is averaging 25 a game, it ain't on a title contender. And if you're saying Clay, by the way, could average 25 a game as the number one option, you're kind of giving props to Reggie Miller. I guess Reggie Miller would do really, really well in this era.
I also feel like Reggie Miller just had a little bit more like on-ball juice, like could actually put the ball on the floor and attack the rim and do other things.
Reggie had a little wiggle. Clay got no wiggle.
So, like, if I ask Clay to put the ball on the floor, he's going to look at me like I'm speaking Portuguese and then take a one dribble pull up that's heavily contested. Like, I feel like trying to comparing Clay and Reggie is kind of a funny thing to do. And like Clay and Ray Allen, because it's like, yes, they are all really good catch and shoot shooters, but the reason Reggie and Ray are rated above them is it's really simple. I can put the ball in Ray Allen's hand at his peak and go, yo, make something happen. And he could. I can watch Reggie Miller take guys off the dribble, but I think Reggie Miller more too. Like I can watch him run out the same pin downs as Clay, except there's a real threat that he's going to take that thing and attack the rim with it or pull up in the mid-range. And Clay just didn't really have that diversity to his game. It was always post fade, contested pull, one dribble midi, or that is just a straight up three. Like, he just doesn't have the versatility of other number one options that were also the primarily catch and shoot guys. And that's absolutely okay. Not everybody's lot in life is to be in, somebody who can have the ball in their hands all the time. That's all right.
Right. And by the way, if life were different and Klay Thompson were never a member of the Warriors, but instead he was drafted by the Hornets, we probably wouldn't know who he is. I'm just being real. And he might have very well went to the Hornets, been their number one option, and he would have been living in the lottery like they've been, and we would never think of him I think Klay had a great career and things just worked out well. He went to Golden State. He and Steph had this great chemistry, developed this culture. Draymond, the whole nine, it worked. I'm in no way attacking whether Klay Thompson is a great player or that he's I think he is in the Hall of Fame. I'm not here to debate that. I think Klay is going to be in the Hall of Fame because he's done all the things. He's got the accolades of being a multiple-time All-Star. He's a multiple-time champion, and it's no secret. For many times in those playoff series, in the run and during those title runs, Klay came up big. I mean, almost as many times as Steph did. Klay was huge. Go back to when they came back 3-1 to OKC. The guy that was killing OKC, it wasn't Steph. It was Klay. So, yes, I think he's a great player. But what made him greater was he was playing with guys, a guy that was greater than he was. He was the number 2 option, and at times the number 3 option. If you take that away and you just make up of a roster of a team of Draymond, Klay, and Andre Iguodala, I don't think you guys play in the finals. I think you might be still really good, but you're not in the finals.
The funniest part about Klay going to the Hornets is he'd be so unhappy there because when he first gets there, he's also just the number 3 option. Like, he's going to come in and be like, all right, you're going to watch Al Jefferson post up and Kemba do some hezzy tween stuff, so have fun with that. But no, like I said, I do think Klay's a Hall of Famer, and I was just kind of joking. But I do think the Hornets would eventually just become the number 1 best player on a team like the Hornets. But yeah, like I say, he has a Hall of Fame career already. Like, we don't need to make Klay Thompson to be something that he's not. Like, every Hall of Fame player has flaws, and that's okay. Klay Thompson, at the end of the day, he got drafted into the absolutely best situation possible for his skill set, and now he's going to walk into the Hall of Fame. Let's say I love that for him. Yeah. Oh, God, Game 6. Game 6 Klay was legendary.
See, I know you remember. See, did right. What did you say? I couldn't forget. Yes. And so you give him credit for how great he was. Yeah. I don't think Klay has to defend his career. His career stands on its own. He's a Hall of Famer. He's going to be known as a great clutch player.
No, absolutely. Like I said, overall, like I said, a lot of love for Clay. Say say between him and Draymond both, Draymond and Steph all got drafted into the perfect situation, and then they eventually ended up with the perfect coach
Yeah,
with
I love that.
say with Steve Kerr. It took him a minute to get there. I obviously they went through Mark Jackson. I think Mark Jackson did a great job at developing them, but his offensive system just really didn't fit what the skill set of the guys were, and Kerr just kind of came in and unlocked it. I was at a wedding during it in Houston. Hey, we all have those games that we just vividly remember.
Oh, I bet you did. How much drinking you did that night? Oh, watch it on the phone. That's smart.
It's
Look,
funny because
it was a great situation, and it worked out well.
I'll say I get it, Kurum. I felt the same way when I had to helplessly watch Jason Tatum go for like 46 on us in that game 6 in 2022. That was a hard watch because that as soon as I watched the Bucks lose game 6 in 2022, I was so deflated. I'm like, yeah, this is over. This was our one chance. If we can't win when Giannis is going for 44, 22, and 6, then we're probably not closing this out in 7. I'd say so. I'd say why don't we wrap up with a little fun, Mo? So
Sure.
I was so nervous for game 7. Yeah, after you lose get blasted in like a game 6, or you just lose in a very heartbreaking way, like you just have no confidence for a game 7 at that point. I'd say, but we actually had something fun for you guys today. And that's how we're gonna just kind of end this thing is something fun because unfortunately we lost one of the great actors of our couple of great actors over the last couple and celebrities over the last couple weeks. Rest in peace to Dolly Parton, Tim Curry, and Peter Cullen. It gave me an idea though. We're gonna have a little fun. Mo and I, we're gonna draft a team. We're gonna go head to head, and the theme is villains. It's obviously inspired because if anybody doesn't know, in the '90s, Tim Curry was Pennywise the Clown, and it gave me an idea. So, say we're gonna have a little fun. Gonna draft a team, and the theme is real simple. It's just gonna be full of iconic movie and or TV villains, and the only rule is they cannot use their powers. So you can't draft Darth Vader in this draft and use the Force. No, nothing like that. 54 point against Cliff. I feel you guys, by the way, on that. The say especially with that Bucks versus Heat series, there were so many times where I felt this way about that because like watching Duncan Robinson shoot 75% of my on his threes, Jimmy dropped 38 on efficiency that he was never going to replicate again in his life was just the most heartbreaking thing to watch. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'll give Mo a second, but yeah, but no, I definitely just want to take a second too to appreciate you guys for tuning in, popping in. Like I said, we're just a couple of guys that love talking hoops, all kinds, current, historical. Say, I kind of started watching some ball in around 2008. I remember the first guy the Bucks I remember ever drafting. Well, I remember us drafting Yee because a lot of people made a big deal out of it, but I know first guy I remember are my Milwaukee Bucks drafting was Joe Alexander, which oof, yeah. But yeah, no, if anybody doesn't know me, I'm Guardy3. I'm a Milwaukee Bucks fan. Have been since, like I said, all my pretty much as soon as I got into basketball. The first two people that made me fall in love with basketball was Michael Redd and Dirk Nowitzki. I'll give those guys a lot of credit for shaping the game the way for making me fall in love with the game. So Same. Yeah, so like I said, we'll have a little fun with it. We're doing like a draft style format. So there he is.
I had technical difficulties. Sorry about that, guys. You
You're
never
good.
know. The camera goes, but I got everything plugged back in. I'll tell you what happened. I'll be really, really honest. My wife has a cat, and we just got this
Oh,
guy, and he's a big chewer of wires, and I'll leave it at that.
hey, I got you. You're all good. So yeah, it's explaining to him the rules of our villains draft. You can pick whoever you want from any movie, TV show. The only rule is if they have powers, they cannot use them. So you can't draft Darth Vader to use
Yes.
the Force, etc. So
Yeah.
Mo, you got the first overall pick. Who would be your first pick for your team of villains?
You know who I'm gonna go? So I was thinking about this because we wanted to exclude superpowers, and I was like, all right. So I've got to get villains who I'll get more villains who don't have powers to begin with. They can just rely on their natural abilities. So my number one pick is Daredevil's arch nemesis, Bullseye. I'm gonna take Bullseye because he doesn't miss. That's my sharpshooter. You know what? We were just talking about him. Bullseye is my Klay Thompson. So I need a guy that doesn't miss. Bullseye is my guy that if he's left open, you might as well start walking down court.
Oh, that's actually a really good one. I like that one. I think I think I need somebody. See, this is gonna be tough, but I think I need somebody that's gonna cause a little chaos and can kind of shift into many roles. So you know what? In honor of Tim Curry, give me Pennywise the Clown at my small forward.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
Say disruptive. Say just very disruptive. I think he can fit many roles. I think he's shown that in his shows. Hey, and you know what? I'm gonna go with, like I said, I think he can be my defensive anchor and cause a lot of turnovers. So give me Pennywise the Clown.
Pennywise is a great pick. That is a great pick. Okay, nothing but respect. It's funny because you went that route, and my number two guy, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, where's my Draymond? Where's my guy that is cerebral but can be physical, can be dominant, and it's got a super high IQ. So I went with Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin.
Oh, all right. Oh. You know what's funny? You know what's funny? I was thinking of one guy I thought of for this was I thought about Darth Vader, but then I kind of think his movements are a little too clunky in the armor. So he actually kind of stole mine here. Give me an enforcer at the 4. Give me Bane from The Dark Knight Rises. Physical, brutal. He's fast. Look, we are trying to lock down the paint, and if anybody wants to step out of line, Bane's going to be my Bill Lambier to take care of him.
Oh, that's a really good one. I'm always want my squad to have guys with super high IQ, super smart guys, and you want guys that talk a little trash. All right, but I want guys that can figure anything out and confuse everybody else. So for my third guy, I want with somebody that you can tell is going to be petty, a trash talker, but super smart. I got the Riddler.
Oh, that's a good one. Oh, that's a good one. The Riddler is absolutely an elite one. Oh, I almost feel like I almost need to almost feel like I have to kind of counter that. Maybe get somebody who's chaotic that doesn't who likes talking some trash. So you know what? I will try to counter that with another iconic Batman villain. Give me the Joker.
Oh, Oh, you hit me. You hit me. See, you see, I was sitting there trying to build this dynasty, and you kind of cut into it because that was one of my targets. That hurts. You just got some. I was trying to have both those dudes. That's an awesome pick. Yeah, I ain't nothing I can say about that. But I can just go to my other guy, my mastermind. I think you got to have somebody that's a coach on the bench and effective on the floor, but a guy that can commit and get everybody to follow his lead. Super smart, but aggressive and ruthless. I'm going with Lex Luthor.
Oh my gosh, I do love Lex. He is such a great villain. I say honestly, I think he's. It's funny. I do think with the right actor, Lex Luthor is such a great pick for this.
That's the key, right? The right actor. I'm with you.
You know what? I need a point guard that that can also kind of fill many hats and play many roles. That this is tough. He's a little undersized, but that's okay. I've seen his agility. I'll make sure he counts first though. Can I use the T-1000 from Terminator 2 Judgment Day?
Ooh, that's really good.
I was gonna say I feel like it's fair if that dude picks like one form and sticks with it, but he's
I
just
think that's fair.
naturally fast. He's just naturally strong. I think that he's a great villain to really just add some physicality, speed onto the court, even though he's a little short. I believe he only stands at 6'6" feet tall, but hey, I think he's a bulldog. He could be like my Patrick Beverly.
I like that one.
What do you think, Chuck? Should I pick somebody different because that is a robot?
No, I think that's fair. That's fair. You taking one form, that's fair. I like that. Look, I'm my last guy. I wanted to make sure that I had another tough guy alongside Fisk. So I wanted somebody who was naturally powerful with like this guy's naturally powerful, and then he became powerful by gaining a bunch of crystals, but he didn't need those. He's just naturally like physically, the guy probably stands over 7 feet tall. He's huge and powerful. I'm going with Thanos.
Oh my gosh. Oh, Thanos is a good one. You know what? Yeah, I know I'm not testing him at the rim.
Right. I still can't get over the Joker pick is awesome, man. That dude's crazy. You know he's gonna talk trash.
Whew. You know what? I think for my last, I think I just need to be able to protect the rim since you went Thanos. I don't think this guy will be able to put the ball on the floor, but he's got some serious height. A lot of he stands close to 7'7" to 8 feet tall. I'm taking Slender Man from the video games.
Oh, that's good.
I think he's going to be a turnover machine. I think you can double him and bother him a lot. I don't think he has great tight handles, but give me that rim protection.
I was getting ready to say it's gonna be Block City. The Slender Man is Rudy. He's Rudy Gobert times 2. That's crazy rim protection. I guess we're gonna have to shoot a lot more from the outside. We got to draw the big man out some kind of way. That's a really good pick.
Yeah, I had him in my mind, and then you went Thanos. I'm like, crap. No, I think I need him because I need somebody to. Granted, I don't know if that helps a lot because I know Thanos can kind of just throw a shoulder into his chest and he's sending him flying, but I would be like, just stay in there, buddy. Take a charge.
Well, I tell you what, the fact that we're having a villains draft, I'm pretty sure the game's going to be played a lot more like the 90s.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, absolutely. Say it would be a fun watch to have like I don't know like Emperor Palpatine as the head coach or something. It'd be terrific.
I like that.
He's just sitting in the sidelines, like, yes, let the hate flow through all you. No strategy.
That's good.
Oh man, that was a lot of fun, Mo. We'll have to do that
It was
again
fun.
next week because
We
it's
we
always
can look, guys. These are the dog days, guys, so it can be kind of fun. It's the off season, and so we're always Brett's great at coming up with little creative games. That was fun. I do believe, don't we have a draft? We're gonna do a draft. Is it next week?
yeah. I would say I figure we did villains this week. Let's do it again next week, except use heroes this time.
Love it.
Obviously, like I said, the villains one was inspired by Tim Curry. Heroes idea was inspired by Peter Cullen. Also, like I said, shout out to the great Dolly Parton. Unfortunately, they all passed away this week. So thoughts and prayers with all their families and friends.
Yeah. I all I can do is I co-sign on that. Wow. Dolly Parton is it's like she's been around forever. One of the great entertainers, humanitarians ever. So it's a big loss, but rest in peace and just my condolences to their loved ones.
Not absolutely. Yeah.
That's right. Joker is going to call a lot of fouls. I feel like Joker is going to be like the guy that's like ball.
He's that guy in pickup that's just like, yeah, that's a foul. He got me on the arm.
Right. Right.
And he's doing it just to mess with you. He just wants to get in your head.
100% Joker is the guy that in pickup, he's a player and a referee.
Anything you wanted to add before I get on out of here, Mo?
No. Just appreciate everybody for joining us. It's always great to chop it up with you. Looking forward to next week.
Absolutely. And until next week, thanks everybody that tuned in. Chuck, I thank you for hopping into the chat. I hope to see you again next week. Kurum, it's always nice seeing you. And you guys enjoy the rest of your day.